Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about how I afforded this $6,000 bike at 15 years old. So, the first way I got my first $1,000 is basically pretty simple, but also a lot of people do it, but it could be hard. And so the method was basically knocking on doors and providing services like window washing, landscaping, and a lot more. Here are a couple pictures and clients we did. And on average, we probably made over $100 on each house, whether it's window washing or grass cutting or snow shoveling or whatever. So yeah, we did that basically the whole summer. We did window washing and we charged around $100 to $200 a house, and with that made us $8K. We did it for 4 months. We did it almost every day, and that made us $8K with my friend. So we made $4K each. So yeah, that's a great way to make money if you want to like expensive thing like this bike, like a Sur-Ron or Talaria or a 79 bike. So yeah, that's how we got the money. That's how I got the money to get this bike. Okay, so another method is reselling, which I don't do, but I know it makes a lot of money because I have friends that do it. And that's a really good way of making money to get stuff that are expensive. So, probably most important of this whole video, saving your money. Don't go buy some Starbucks drinks or some little things if you don't need it. And you probably want it and be like, you need it. You obviously need food, but like a few dollars, $10 there, $5 there, is gonna add up really quickly. I've been there and I stopped doing that, and that's how I can afford a lot more things. I make money and I don't spend it right away. I save and save and save until I made around $6,000 and bought this thing, because this is way better than any Starbucks drink or any other little thing you want to buy. So yeah, save your money. Save every dollar. And another way is to, like, when you get money, if you get money for your birthday, or let's say you have a birthday party and your friends give you like money instead of presents, save that money too. And most of the money that I made was mostly because of me, not some birthdays. Maybe like $100 or $200 about it. But the rest of it was me working with my friend, and we window washed. So I'm going to talk about the company a little more and how we actually established it making a lot of money at 15 years old. So it first started around 3 years or 4 years ago, where we were like, okay, let's go do landscaping. And we knocked on probably hundreds of houses, and we got like one client, and we charged them $10, and they said yeah. Well, obviously that's nothing compared to what we charge now, what we're doing now. But that was the start. It was so hard, and there was some crazy stuff that happened along the way. And you learn a lot when you work with your friends and you work, like, you make your own business. You learn a lot more than just going to, like, working at some Jordans or working at like a professional company. Well, you'll learn more experiences because you're running your own business and you have to deal with clients and finances. So yeah, the first year we made probably together like $400 or $500, not even. Mostly because we weren't dedicated enough, but also we didn't know what we were doing, and we had barely any equipment. We had probably like 2 rakes, and we barely mowed lawns because we didn't know how to use lawnmower or something. So yeah, so we did a lot of raking. Raking made us the most money. We made probably $400 in one raking season, so $200 each, and that took us like the whole raking season. So I think we started like October to mid-December or beginning of December when it stopped. And that was a great way. That was a great way to make our first couple $100. Now, we worked like that. We did some summer jobs, which was like raking, grass cutting with like a manual lawnmower. Like I said, we didn't really own one. We didn't really know how to use one. We were like 8 or 9 years old, and we didn't really know how to use one. So yeah, that's how we made our first couple $100. Another great way, if you live where it snows, is just going door knocking when it snows and saying, hey, can I show your driveway? And you can really actually overprice here. We charge around $50 a driveway, which is actually a lot because it takes us around, I don't know, 20 to 30 minutes to do one driveway, because we're good at it and we're strong and we have a lot of experience. We did hundreds of driveways. That's where the money can come flowing in if you're just a beginner and you're starting off to make your own company, which is snow shoveling. That's great. You don't need a snowblower because it just makes more work. You can just carry your shovel around and it's very portable. You can go anywhere with it. So yeah, that's a great way to make a lot of money. And that can make you probably, if you do it every time it snows in the season, let's say the end of December to around end of March or mid-March, where it snows a lot, you can make a lot of money. And I think I made alone $500. So yeah, you can make like maybe $1,000 with your buddy. Or if you have a couple, you can have groups, and that's when you start getting serious and be like, hey, you work for me and I get 20% of the door you knock on. Something like that. We're starting to grow our business, or we're trying, but it's pretty slow, but it's going to be really crazy. So yeah, that's a great way to make a lot of money at the beginning of making your own company with solo or partnership. So another way is to, well, let me just talk about the story about our company. So we did it for a year, all these little things, snow shoveling, lawn mowing, all that, raking, and we quit for a whole year because we just wanted to like have fun and do teenage stuff. I don't know, biking, eating ice cream, I don't know, all this cool stuff. And then we were like, wait, we need a lock in, we make a lot of money. I was like, yeah, we do. So we made, that time we started again. We made probably a lot more than we thought we would, because it didn't really go well the first year. So yeah, we did that for another 2-3 years, or yeah, 2 years. And then we're like, damn, this is, I mean, it's okay money, it's not great, it wasn't great. We weren't doing it every day, but we were better at it, we charged more and we did better jobs. And then this was last summer where we got serious and we were like, let's try window washing. So we bought around $100 to $150 equipment. We bought them off Facebook Marketplace. Here's how it looks like. So yeah, that equipment made us $8,000 over the summer of 4 months. So yeah, $4,000 each. So yeah, that was a great way to make our first like real money, like really good money. So yeah, that's where we got really excited and we were like, holy cow, this is working. So we tried hiring employees. It worked for a bit, but we're trying to figure something else out. We're going to try to grow the business, like I said, that's where it's going to start to make a lot more money, but we'll figure that out later. Right now it's pretty well good. So yeah, we're expanding our business so we can make even more money, is to pond building, which we've done, and we're really good at fishing and we like fish. So we wanted to try pond building. So we built one in my backyard, in my friend's backyard, and that went pretty well. We're like, let's offer it to clients. So we didn't get one yet, but we had clients interested, and we told them the price, and they're like, sure, but they never got back to us because they don't want it, either this time or never, which is okay because it's a test thing, test subject. So yeah, that we would charge around anywhere from $800 to $2,000, depends how big it is. So yeah, all you need is like a shovel. Well, you can get into that later, you can figure it out on your own. So yeah, that's where you can make a lot of money. We didn't do that yet, and hopefully we can do that this summer. So as you can see, it's raking season, so you can start raking right now and make a lot of money. Because that's where the first year we made a lot of money. What was $400 together. That was a good year. First year, we experimented and we were happy. So yeah, we knocked on our first house one time. We're like, oh my goodness, we made $50 in one day, because we only had one house. Or we had multiple houses, so it was like $10. We're like, we made $50, so we're happy. I remember coming home and going like, oh, I made $25, which was a lot when I was 8 years old, because I don't know, I used to buy a lot of things like fishing equipment. That's where most of my money went to. But then I realized I started saving, and that's where really the money popped off, and I can start saving big things like this, and maybe a car one day, hopefully. So yeah, that's how I can afford a 79 bike at 15 years old. It might feel like $6,000 or whatever, whatever you want to buy is like $5,000, $6,000, even $10,000. It's a lot of money. It is, of course it is. But you gotta learn how to like manage your money, and you gotta be confident in yourself. You're gonna be like, I'm gonna make $10,000 in a year, which is definitely achievable. So you just gotta know what to do and be dedicated enough to do it over and over. Like, we failed a couple years with this lawn care company until we have our own company right now. Here's a logo of it. Can't show the name, but yeah, that's a little logo we made. We have it on shirts and our clients. Business cards. Here's our business cards. Pretty sick. So yeah, just save your money and you can get anything you want, basically. So yeah, and then you can just ride around the forest and also be safe on the bike. So yeah, not to mention, I did buy a lot of fishing equipment, which was a lot of money. But I stopped that because I need to save money for other things like this one. So yeah, that's basically how I made that much money to buy this at 15. It all started when I was 8, basically. So the earlier you start, the earlier you'll run into problems, and the earlier you'll fix them, and the earlier you'll get the 10 grand, whatever you want. You need to fix your mistakes, and then you'll learn, and that's where it really pops off, after your mistakes. So yeah, don't be afraid to start. Just go out there and try something. Crazy part, we even tried singing for money. Like during Christmas time, we went to houses and we didn't really ask for money, but we sang a song for like 3 minutes, a Christmas song, and then basically we put our hats out, not asking for money, but showing like donation or whatever. And yeah, that made us $15. We really tried to do anything. That didn't work out. We made $15 in the whole day, which was crazy. So people do that. That's nice. But yeah, thinking about businesses around your neighborhood that other people don't do will make you a lot of money. For example, if you live in an isolated area with like people, but not like you can't go door to door, you could try to go to a pond or lake and set up a skating thing and maybe rent out skates and sell hot chocolate. All these little things. I tried selling hot chocolate, that worked pretty well. Candy, ice cream, lemonade stands, those are all the start of big things. So yeah, that's where I started. I sold drinks with my friends when I was really small. They only support us because we're kids, right? Not because for the sake of selling drinks. Because we're trying to be like little kids selling drinks. But now it's real business, and we build gardens. Like here's some pictures. We built that garden, and that was what I think $200 or $250 for that garden, and it took us 2 hours to do, which is great, and it's really fun. If you enjoy building, then you can just put your time into doing landscaping services. So yeah. Another great way, which is probably one of the hardest ways, is not the hardest ways if you know what you're doing, is online. Online, there's so much opportunities to make money, but you gotta know what you're doing, right? So yeah, so far off this YouTube channel, we're making a few bucks. We just started, we just got monetized, so that's great. Thank you everyone for the 3,500 subscribers. Yeah, we made a couple bucks so far, but it's just the start. So like, and maybe even drop a super thanks down below, and subscribe of course, for amazing content like this. So after you make that money, let's say you want a bike, because you probably clicked on this video thinking you want to get a bike but you don't have enough money. So after you get that goal of whatever, $6,000, $5,000, $4,000, whatever, if it's a bike, you gotta really research in what kind of bike you want. So don't be like going out buying this right away. You gotta research what suits you, your height, your size, right? This is pretty big bike. It's not huge, but it's pretty big. Around 6 foot, so 6'1". So yeah, this bike is like, it looks small to me, but when I'm on it, it's completely fine. But yeah, this is a great bike. You gotta really research. I researched probably like 4 to 5 months ahead before I actually bought this bike. I was gonna buy a used bike, which it's a good idea if you know what you're doing, but if it breaks down, right, you can't really return it, and I'm not an engineer to fix that, and it'll probably be expensive even if you know what you're doing. Maybe, I don't know, but I looked at used bikes for a couple, like 4 months, because I didn't really have 6 grand yet. I had probably like 2 or 3 grand. So yeah, those bikes, you know what you're doing, there's great options on Facebook Marketplace, Kijiji, eBay, but you gotta know what you're doing. And the new stuff is expensive, of course it is, but it's worth it because this thing is amazing. So yeah, and you got to take care of your stuff so you don't lose your basically you lose your money if this breaks. That's why I take really good care of my bike and not really leave it anywhere. I always ride it and clean it and clean the battery and keep the battery inside when it's cold, like today, but you can ride it when it's cold, obviously. So yeah, thank you for everyone watching, and this is how I made 6 grand for this bike at 50 years old. Peace out.